Sharon Beattie shares some of her experiences as a parent. This is a Blends family story.
Well, when Boston was born, he was born 24 to 26 preem with his twin brother. But he died 8 days later. So we had to leave Boston behind in neonates and take the body back home and bury Keanu. But in that time too, he had a little spot on his brain, and the neurosurgeons were quite concerned about it, but they couldn't do anything until he reached 1,500 grams. And when he was first born, he weighed at 450 grams. So that took a couple of, quite a while for him to get up to that weight. But, but because a lot of those people were, quite, they were caring for his needs and things like that, after his shunt was put in and we were eventually released by the hospital around about November of 2002, about a year later, 6 months later maybe, his shunt became blocked, and we didn't know the symptoms of a blocked shunt. But and eventually, because water grew on his brain, it just filled up on his brain, and that put pressure on his optic nerve, so that gave him his low vision, basically, yeah. Having a boy that was visually impaired, it was really not what we know. It was something completely new to me and to the rest of his family. People used to look at him strangely, but and sometimes it hurts you that way too, because they do look at your son strange, what's the matter with him and things like that. But the help that first came our way was in Wanganui, and that was based around connecting Boston to services, to other people, to other, not so much other children, because there weren't many children around like that, around his age, but mainly to other services. Some of the services were equipped to handle a vision impaired child, but some of them sort of weren't. They were sort of, catering for children that are normal, as what we perceive as normal growing. But what I found really interesting was a program called Parents as First Teachers. That gave me the understanding, because you also learn about, a child's brain activity from conception to birth, and maybe further on in later life. And that's how I got a better understanding on, the brain activity in the child, and because we didn't know really what his vision, how bad his vision was, we sort of had to wait until he grew up and where he can tell us what he can see or that he can't see, or things like that, yeah. The best move that we've ever done was come down to Wellington, because we used to live in Wanganui, and we came here in 2006, and the first people I got connected to was Chrissy, was you, and the Blind Foundation, and through them, even though I may only come into contact with other parents maybe once a year through the Christmas party, but there is other connections, we may not know each other by name, but we do know each other by, face, or even if the Homai asks us to go up there for a weekend, there's a connection there with other kids and with other teachers, I would say, teachers or people who are connected with children of low vision. Another thing that's kept me going is not all, life isn't all based around Boston as well. There is me. So, I try and keep my mind active by just learning as much as I can. Not so much about low vision, but other things that interest me. Yeah, so, but my main support has been my family to this day. But families, they have their ups and downs and, um, little bit arguments and things like that, but at the end of the day, we all love each other, and we do take Boston into account in a lot of things that we do. Yeah, yeah.
Many thanks to Sharon and her family. You can find more ideas, information and stories at blends.school.nz.